Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 50th episode of Talking with a Dad. Yeah. It's a big podcast this evening, number 50. Steve thinks it should be 49B. I think it should be 50. Yeah. Let the comment section down below.
You really turned me around on this. You really,
I know.
You turned me around on it, and let's just say this, man. This is not actually our 50th episode together, though. This is more like 150 or something, isn't it?
Probably. Yeah, we had a bunch of sessions on Gaming with a Dad prior, before we switched over to an actual podcast session. Although a lot of those you could probably clip into a podcast and put them all together. That'd be really fun. But no, one thing I got to say before we start the show this evening, I have a lot of respect for you as a parent. I had the opportunity to run around with some like 6-year-olds yesterday, and I am sore still. I got up earlier and it looked like I was 93 and a half years old getting up and walking and waddling away because my quads are absolutely destroyed. Absolutely destroyed.
First, you got to learn how to pace yourself when it comes to kids, right?
It was I did it like 7 hours straight.
Dude, you got to pace yourself. So what you got to do is you got to get them to do most of the running, right? So you think of games where they run and they burn their energy, and then you smoke them in a competition, right? Make them feel bad about themselves, and you build them back up. But you get them to do the brunt of the work, and then that's how you avoid that. But every once in a while, it's just going to come down to good old-fashioned romping. But kids are fun. But did you feel? How'd you feel? Did you feel yourself in the future there?
No.
Like,
No. Yeah.
It's a father of 3,
not
living
3,
in the suburbs.
1 maybe. No, we had an opportunity to get most of the family together, like 90% of the family together. We had a memorial for my grandparents. We were finally able to actually do that. Yeah, we got most of the family together. The only one that wasn't able to make it was my family lives in Canada, because they would have to quarantine for 2 weeks after. Couldn't do it with work and such. So, yeah, I got all the kids together, running around with them, and then I went 8-1 in cornhole on the day and called it quits. It was good. It was good.
Were you way intense playing cornhole?
No, this is not a game. I was so nonchalant about it. One of my cousins was like, "Hey, you want to team up?" And I was like, "All right, let's get it." And everyone there was like, "Dude, I got like a special throws and shit. Like I throw this one sideways because if it sticks, it doesn't slide." And I was like, "Yeah, I've played one other time at Shane's sister's graduation party, and I'm gonna kick all your asses."
Smoking you,
dude. I went on a 40-point heater. I didn't miss the board for 40 points in a row.
Well, you played softball as a kid, though, right?
I played baseball. I didn't play softball.
Oh, you played okay, even better. So you can aim. I'm not surprised.
I was a pitcher.
I'm not.
I was like after like 6 wins in a row or something, I was like screwing around like in between games, and I just took it and just started throwing it overhand and put like 3 in a row, like straight into the hole in cornhole. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is easy.
How was it seeing all the fam?
It's nice. We get together like at least once a year, so it hasn't been that long. My cousin from South Dakota came out, and we don't get to see them very often because it is so far, right? And she has a 6-year-old, loves Minecraft, loves gaming.
So these are all your mom's siblings in a immediate family.
My mom has a sister, my aunt, and she has like 1, 2, 3, like a fucking half a dozen kids. So
yeah.
So they're all older than me. I'm the oldest of me and my sister, and then they're all older than me. So
there's nothing like being from a big family, man. Like it can be daunting and annoying, but when you guys all get together and it's around an event, to celebrate life and love, it can be great until that one uncle inevitably, starts to act out, and you gotta excuse him.
Oh yeah, one uncle, very good cook.
I was projecting.
It's funny. All of my family, legitimately, all of my family is under like 5'10". I'm by and large, other than my dad, right? And by and large, and my dad's side of the family is really tall, but I'm like head and shoulders above everyone else. So I just make short jokes the entire time. It's a lot of fun,
dude. That's what you got to do. Family's about making other people feel bad.
That's what I do all day.
Them leaving knowing that you love them. Speaking of family, my mom actually got to come up and see the kids for the first time since this whole thing happened. I didn't realize it had been 6 months.
That's nice.
Since this whole thing started. So she came up on Thursday. My stepdad dropped her off. I got to see him. I have a lot of love for my stepdad. He's a funny guy, and I mean, like, genuinely funny. He cracks me up. And so my mom was here the whole weekend, and like, and Santana said something that was really interesting. She's like, it's funny to hear the grandparents struggle with the kids, like when the kids finally turn on them. I'm like, well, why? And she's like, well, because they're always letting them get away with stuff, and then it's like, this is karma. The kids are like, oh, well, you let me do it earlier. But man, it was great. It was great to see her like with the kids again. Then we drove down to Harlem to drop her back off. Santana drove. And man, every time I go to my home area, like I get sucked right in, man. Like I had this originally as a topic, but then I was like, this is too much me in our show. But like, I gotta tell you, man, growing up in the city, nothing like it. Nothing like it. I have nothing to compare it to. I did not grow up anywhere else. Obviously, that statement makes it pretty exclusive. But like, I lived in Chicago for a while, and even that, like, I was that kid when we lived in Chicago where I just shat on Chicago the entire time.
That's the exact same thing I would do. The exact same thing I would do for sure.
But it's amazing because so many things look different in the neighborhood, but at the same time, it's still like, obviously a lot of restaurants are not doing as well. But
yeah,
I want to give a shout out to Manhattan and to New York City and New York State as a whole. It's amazing how bad we were when this whole thing happened. Yeah. And by the grace of God, like, we're even functioning at the level we're functioning at. Like, they were, there was a point where, you were starting to get a little worried there for a second. Like, it was like,
I was ready to jump ship. I was ready to jump ship. I was gone, man. Going south.
At one point, I was like, man, I wonder if I'm going to see my folks again. Like, that type of when this first thing started off. So it was good to see her, man. We had a great time, and nothing like family, man. I think we both had good family weekends, but that's as emotional as I want to get on this show. This is not a show about emotions, folks. It's a show about slander,
gish galloping,
and gym foolery, and all the other names that I can't. Zach, I got to ask you a question. I'm going to give you exactly 60 seconds. No, sorry, that's too long. 30 seconds.
All right, I got to get my Ben Shapiro in.
You don't even have to back it up with facts. I've identified who your favorite fighter is, but I want you to tell the people why Stipe Miocic is your favorite fighter.
It's not true.
It is true.
It's not true. It is. I think Khabib is the best fighter in the UFC. That's my favorite fighter.
No, you hate Khabib. You loathe him. The very
what are you
thought
talking about?
Dude, I've heard your cadence changes when
what do you mean?
Too many people were talking about how dominant Khabib is. You're like, yeah, well, I mean, he's dominant a bunch against guys that can't really defend his takedowns. We'll see how he does in the future.
He has the worst takedown. He has some of the worst takedowns I've ever seen. Have you seen him try to shoot at someone who's center octagon? He shoots from 9 feet away and is never successful. I stuffed every single one of his fucking takedowns, dude.
It's volume, but that's not what we're talking about. Stipe's your guy, man.
I like Stipe a lot, for sure. I like Stipe a lot. He's definitely up there for me.
Tell me what it is. Tell me about what it is about his personality that you enjoy.
Yeah, I don't even know if what it is about his personality, like his fight style a lot. Right, I feel like if I was a fighter in the UFC, A, I'd be a heavyweight because I'm fat, and B, that's probably the style I would do. Just enough wrestling to keep it on the feet. And I think that's he's obviously a great wrestler, but it's good enough. He looked good, by the way. He looked really lean. He looked super lean. It was insane that he was rocking like a 6-pack. I don't know if he ever has in a fight before. Maybe I don't pay attention to that shit too much. And looked really lean. Even DC looked lean too, though. But they were 3 pounds apart, and DC looked like a brick shit house compared to Stipe, though.
You know what the crazy thing about that is that Stipe, of the two of them, Stipe is an actual quote unquote legit heavyweight. So what does that mean? He actually walks around at probably like 260,
right?
Or something like out of camp.
I don't know,
like 250 out of camp.
Sure,
but like he has the power of a heavyweight. Ironically enough, DC knocked him out. But when you look at DC,
it was a fluke.
It
was rigged. It was rigged by the global elites and the vampires. The interdimensional vampires rigged that fight. They popped in. Kill him.
Dude, when you look at DC, I'm not buying that whole narrative like he didn't want to fight Kane. I believe that was a part of it. I believe he definitely didn't want to fight.
Dude, training partners and friends, right? Like, I don't think I would want to fight him.
No, absolutely.
I know where you're going with this, though.
But he is built for the light heavyweight division. It is the division in which he was most dominant. Now, we do have to acknowledge his Strikeforce career. He won the Grand Prix, dominated over there.
This is immediately after his wrestling career, though, ended, right?
I don't know if it was I don't think it was immediately after. I think he was doing other stuff after the Olympics, and then they brought originally. I think this whole thing started for him. They brought him to AKA to be Kane's wrestling partner and/or coach.
Okay,
and that's how he got into it. A horrible fact to know about DC because it's heartbreaking.
I know exactly what you're gonna say. He lost a child, right, in a car accident to a drunk driver.
Yeah, and Patrick Cummings. The situation Patrick Cummings was referring to with DC crying on the mat was because he had lost his child, and that's why DC served him like that when they actually fought. But the reason I asked you about Stipe is, you and I are in agreement about something in regards to who he is. Stipe is the greatest UFC heavyweight of all time, and I'm not ashamed to say the greatest heavyweight that the sport's seen
in a long time, for sure.
Yeah, heavyweight division, first time ever, is on fire.
Yeah, it's really interesting right now.
Yes, got a lot of intriguing matchups coming here, but
fairly deep now too.
Yes,
right. There's probably a solid top 10 now.
So you got Curtis Blade, you still got Ubereem or Slubereem still lurking around the corner.
Yeah, I mean, he's the best technical striker in that division by a mile.
Yep, and you got who else do you have? You have
Derek Lewis.
Francis Ngannou. Derek Lewis, very serious. Derek Lewis is now
a very serious Derek Lewis, who threw one of the nicest fucking heavyweight head kicks I've ever seen against Alexei Olenek. Yeah, absolutely. Stipe actually threw the same head kick John did to knock DC out. I saw that, and I'm like, it's the John kick.
He went for it. I mean, you got to beat that guy with the stuff that works.
Gus moved up. I know he's going to be outside the top 10. Didn't do great, but Gus is always there. Gus is always a dark horse in whatever division he's in.
Fabricio, even though he technically
Verdum, JDS,
poor guy
again, but still, I could look up the UFC heavyweight division, but it's actually fun to watch right now. And what's crazy about it is that boxing lives off the heavyweight division. So does MMA, right? We went through a lull for a while. Fights were okay. Conor was there, whatever. I don't give a shit about Conor. But now that the heavyweight's on fire, it makes almost every card more interesting. That Olenek guy, that Alexei Olenek guy that Derek Lewis just beat is an absolute monster, right?
Oh yeah.
Even if he just lost to Derek Lewis.
What's the Russian
Volkov?
Volkov. So here's the thing. You bring up a good point, right, about the heavyweight division, because at first, in the UFC, the transition from where it was the bare knuckle fighting, heavyweight division, yes, was just like boxing. That's what people tuned in for. They wanted to see the big boys throw down. But then
we forgot Rosenstrike. Walt Harris is up there.
Yes,
that Blagoy Ivanov guy, the one that got stabbed in the freaking chest. That guy's there. He's still
maniac.
That is exactly. I mean, under that, it's a little scary, and it's not.
What was the name of the lower weight division that existed before everyone came from there to the UFC? Uriah Faber, not TJ Dillashaw, so Dominic Cruz.
The only one I know is like Strike.
I think
Force.
it was WEC. Anyway, that marketed it in, that ushered in the lower weight divisions getting the props that they deserve. But heavyweight looks good right now.
WEC.
Yeah,
Cowboy. It looks like Cowboy came from there too.
Cowboy, Brian Stan, Uriah Hall. Uriah
Faber. I'm looking at Faber right now.
Dominic Cruz. I believe Cub Swanson.
Sure.
Who?
Yeah,
a bunch of guys.
There's a lot of them. Shamrock.
Yeah. They all came over, and that's when people started realizing that there was a skill level to this.
Wow, there's a lot of people came out of here. Jose Aldo.
It's interesting because I think that Stipe, for me, I'm willing to debate this point with anyone. Stipe marks the new breed of heavyweight and mixed martial arts, most certainly in the UFC. Maybe not all of mixed martial arts. That is not a one-trick pony, relies heavily on a one-hitter quitter. Like, there's some real technical skill there. I mean, you can make the same argument for Ubereem. Like, he has some very technical striking, but in regards to clean striking, I think Stipe is leading the way. And I just wanted to say that out loud on the show. The man deserves our respect.
Absolutely.
And he is the GOAT until proven otherwise. A mantle that obviously can be taken from you at any given time.
The greatest heavyweight of all time, right?
Greatest heavyweight of all time.
There's a lot. Someone has to do a lot to get up there. I don't think anyone right now has the same resume that Stipe had. Obviously, no. I think maybe the person who has might have the most, honestly, is Derek Lewis. He's kind of had to fight everybody.
Yeah,
you know, and he's honestly had to fight a lot of people.
Well, I think in the conversation for GOAT in any division, if we're not talking about like 2-weight division champions and stuff like that, it has to be the climb, right? Who did you beat?
Yeah,
to get there.
We talked about this ad nauseum in the last episode, so we're sorry for repeating ourselves. It was such a good fight and a really great end to a trilogy that it's kind of hard not to talk about, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, you got to send him off. I hope he does not retire prematurely.
Man,
I would like to see him in Francis too. That's all I have to say on it.
I don't care about that fight. He beat him. Convincingly is what I was going for. You know, the only fight there for Stipe at the moment, I think, really is Jon coming up. There was a lot of that talk going on right now. Jon vacated his light heavyweight title, and talks with the UFC, I guess, to try to negotiate a better deal for heavyweight. I had a conversation on my stream with my friend Nick, who's also a huge fighting fan, who complimented our talk on fighting because he thought it was really good.
Hey, shout out to Nick, man. You're a man with fine taste.
He thinks that where was I going with this? I have no idea where I was going with this. I lost myself.
Let me get you back on the path. You're saying that this is the only fight that's provocative and intriguing enough to watch for Stipe. Is that where you're leaning towards?
I think so. Honestly, there's nothing else there for him though. He's beat everyone else. I guess Francis too. Francis is a different fighter now than what he was when he fought Stipe the first time. I will give him that. I don't
know how much different, but he's gotten a lot better.
Right. No, he's not. I'm not saying he's different. Like, he added wrestling. Which Ben Askren offered to coach him on wrestling too, by the way.
Interesting enough, though, Curtis Blades is a much more aggressive wrestler than Stipe. Did not do that to Francis. I wonder, you know,
he got hit coming in.
He
didn't twice, right? Twice. He didn't weather his only two losses in the UFC too. Curtis Blades is really good in that division too. Honestly, I like Curtis Blades a lot. Curtis Blades could be a champion in that division one day.
Oh yeah. No, I agree with you. I think Jon's is a very intriguing fight. Hey, you want to take a moment?
This is the conversation we were having on the stream. I think that Jon arguing that he deserves to be paid more, and I don't think he does. I think he gets paid. I don't know what it is. Let's say $2 million a fight, right?
No,
I don't. Less than that, right?
Yeah,
$1 million a fight, 500 to show, 500 to win.
Yeah.
So for the draw that he is, that almost might be appropriate. He doesn't sell over 800,000 pay-per-view buys. We looked at this, and some of the cards that he's on, right, the notorious ones that sell a lot of pay-per-view buys are the ones that are stacked in July. You know, he fights at the top of every one of these cards, and his name is on the marquee, but I don't think he fights in cards that are stacked, and I don't think he's that big of a draw. We like him. We're huge fans. Well, you're a huge fan. I'm an okay fan. I enjoy the way he fights, right? Because it's so technical and he does all the little things so perfect. But I just don't think he's as big of a draw. And
not at light heavyweight. I would agree with you 100%. At light heavyweight, it's a hard sell to ask for $5 million to show, because you haven't. So
right, this is what I'm saying. It's the same issue DJ ran into, where the fights weren't exciting, right? Because everyone kind of knows how it's gonna go. Even in
you're gonna win,
right?
Your
that's
performance.
Why DJ was non-compelling, because it was like, dude, DJ is the most. Like, if you were to think of the most perfect mixed martial artist you could put together, DJ comes to mind, right? Striking is extremely clean. Grappling is insane. Like,
yeah. And he developed a lot of that stuff, the grappling on the fly. I agree with your assessment. Here's the thing where I do agree with Jon in regards to this, because I'm going to draw you back to another point you made. Don't think for a second that Dana and them haven't been pushing him to go up to heavyweight, right? 100%, they're always constantly probably trying to sell that. And I'm sure Jon's response is like, because he said it publicly, you're asking me to go up into a more dangerous division. There is no division that's dangerous. There is no division where the chance of being injured the way you would be injured in a heavyweight fight exists.
Yeah.
So him asking for more money to fight a guy like Francis Ngannou or to fight Stipe to fight the champion,
Just.
But if it was, I agree with you. If he was just sticking around at a light heavyweight and we're gonna watch a couple of more eggs be laying, and if that's the future,
Yeah.
I'm good. I went through that with Floyd Mayweather. I don't need to go through it again.
What's the compelling fight for him at light heavyweight? Reyes 2, maybe. I think Dom Reyes will be the champion of that division for a while. I don't know if it'll be as dominant as
I don't agree. I think that Dom will be champion, and then I think the belt's going to jump around for a little bit. I think Dom. To
me, that's exciting, right?
I know you like that. I know you
right.
Like
to me, that's exciting, and I don't know if I swayed you on that conversation or not. Was that I think that when you don't know who's going to win, those are the most exciting fights. That Stipe DC fight was so exciting to me because every punch DC threw could have put Stipe away. Every time Stipe was in the clinch, I was worried about that punch, right? And he got hit with it a dozen times. You had no idea going into that fight who was going to win. I thought Stipe, but it's like a thought, right? When I watch Jon, it's like it's easy money to put money on Jon, right? It's like, he's going to go out there, he's going to do his thing, he's going to pull someone into deep water and then just be the same pace from round 1 to round 5. I think the division got more exciting because you don't know who was going to win those fights, right? You're not going to see. I'd love to see Thiago Santos, Dom Reyes. That might have already happened.
No, they haven't met.
I'd love to see that. Any of the guys versus Anthony Smith. I like Anthony Smith a lot. I think he's just a genuine good guy. I think his fight style is exciting. You got Jan Blachowicz in that division. That's a fairly good striker, right? I think he's fighting Reyes coming up in October, I believe.
Did they book that one?
I think they did. I don't know if they fully announced it, but I think I saw it somewhere. The division now is compelling to me.
That'd be more than likely be your
championship fight.
Yeah,
because Blachowicz was getting ready to fight Jon for a title, right? Yeah, that was going to be the next fight.
I agree with your assessment. I agree that obviously it brings a level of allure and excitement back to the division. What upsets me about this whole thing is to answer your question from earlier, I don't want to see Jon get knocked out. I don't want to see him get hurt. And I think that a part of him knows that the competition's starting to catch up to him now. Sure. He's starting to slow down a little bit. He's got to get that last payday. The thing that upsets me about this is overall, this goes back to their business practices, the UFC. This also goes back to Jon's life decisions and thinking about the star he could have been. And then it's also the end of an era, right? So, the Bones era is officially over and it ends in an unceremonious way, right?
It might not, though, right? If he goes up and wins at heavyweight, there are a lot of interesting fights for him at heavyweight, right? There's the immediate rematch with Stipe, and Stipe is notoriously better in the second fight, right? So was Jon, though. There's a lot of good fights for him up there. If Jon moves up to heavyweight, I don't know if he might win the title and bounce, right? I don't know. To me, Jon doesn't seem like he's super tied to fighting anymore, right?
No,
he's been talking about, for the last, 4 fights, he's been talking about that I don't need this anymore. 3 fights for sure. He seems to be doing a lot for his community. I don't know what the fuck that optic is for. I think that's forced by the UFC. I don't know. I just feel like there's very little time for Jon or Stipe left, and that would be the most interesting fight in the UFC at the moment that isn't already booked, right? Gaethje Khabib, I think, is very, very compelling. I think Gaethje has the skill set to beat Khabib. But at the moment, I think Stipe, on the door at least, right? Like just outside the door, I think Stipe Jon is incredible.
That would be the last blockbuster burner you could put out before Stipe retired.
If he loses the fight, or no, if he wins the fight, he walks off as the GOAT, right? Yeah, you beat the guy that everyone thinks is absolutely unbeatable,
like the greatest of all time.
Potentially, that might make him the GOAT, right?
You know what's crazy? I just want to take a second, if you and I could, for a second, to poop on Ariel Helwani. I don't know when this happened. The thing I'm about to say. At one point, he was such a serious journalist, someone whose opinion I considered very highly, even when I disagreed with him.
Sure.
At some point, he just seems to have turned into an Uber fanboy with a mic. And I don't know when that happened.
I think it happened when they stopped giving him information to leak. Right. He can't be a journalist because the UFC hates him so much that they do not give him information. right? I think the other reporters like Brett Okamoto, I think is pretty good. Aaron Braunster, I sorry if I mispronounce your name. That guy's fairly good as well, and the UFC likes
Luke
those
Thomas.
guys. Yeah, I've never listened to him. I've never listened to him. I don't follow him on Twitter. I don't follow him on Instagram, so I don't even know what Luke Thomas says. Right?
He's good.
I've heard that a lot. I think the UFC hates him so much, and he has the ESPN job, so he's living easy now. I don't think the UFC gives him any information to say. So I think he kind of has to like scrape it together, and this is the only way. Like we look like super uber fanboys right now, but because Dana's not calling us up and going, "Hey, we booked this fight 24 hours from now."
I'm in my basement, for God's sake. I am the epitome of an Uber fanboy right now. I think the thing that makes me upset with Ariel is like where his stock dropped for me was the Jones versus Smith fight. Wasn't that you should say negative things about Jones if they're true. 100%. You got to hold people accountable. You got to report the facts. What was weird was we're talking about the highest level of sport in my mind with the most on the line of risk. And when a guy like Anthony Smith says, "I'm choosing honor over, the easy way out," like
he got that knee, and he could have absolutely won. Would have gotten nuked in the rematch, but
and then Ariel's like, "I would have taken it," and I'm like, "Yeah. Of course you would have taken it, Ariel. That's why you do what you do,
right?" And they do what they do.
They do. I just want to take a second. This might be a segment I bring back in because Zach usually calms me down on things like I've been steaming about that, like Ariel Helwani, and I'm just like, dude, we need real sports journalists involved in MMA. We need more Brett Okamotos.
He doesn't get access to them, right? It's hard to be a reporter when you don't get access to the fucking pages, right? Like, it's hard.
That's true.
It's hard. Although Ariel Helwani, you suck.
So wait,
your show with DC sucked too.
We'd fight you on the street. First chance, Zach would go first because I don't know what level of skill you have.
you gotta feel him out. Dude, oh my god! So, do you want to know that I almost had to fight an old guy on the highway today? Story.
How old is old?
He had white hair. But he had enough gusto. I knew a kid in fucking high school had white hair. His fucking hair, all his filament went away.
Call them white hair Jake.
That's good though. I wish I would have thought about that. So Shane's driving, right, and we're merging onto a highway, and Shane's in the lane to get onto the highway, right? the on ramp. Some dude comes flying up and goes to cut him off. And Shane's like, nope, and just like sneaks by him, right? Doesn't get him off. The guy's laying on the horn, just riding his ass. So then he comes up and on the side, and he's waving at us. So I roll the window down and I'm screaming at him, right? This just seems appropriate at this point. And then he looks at me and then just drives a little bit faster. And then he had to slow down to get off his exit. So I'm like hanging out the window, fucking screaming at him. I was got to get out and fight him. It was gonna be great. My new favorite genre of videos is like the road rage videos where two guys are like, one guy's fucking not bothering, the other guy's like, you're fucking pull over. The guy gets out, knocks the other guy out nonchalant, and then gets back in his car and drives away. Yeah, I was planning for one of those today.
Listen, there's nothing like a good road rage situation. My uncle Londell, when I was a kid, would drive a school bus, and he would drive us to our grammar school. And like, he's a short, stout fellow, and very smiley, jovial type of guy. But man, he would get out that car and grab that bat really quick. He'd be ready to go. I was proud of you, man, when you texted me that. Road rage is the only way.
What was it me? I was having fun. That guy was pissed. That guy was angry, and I was like, all right, well, if this has to go here, it has to go here. I'm like, I'm not gonna like let this happen. But
dude, if he got out the car and had cargo shorts and a Hawaiian shirt on, don't fight him. Those type of old guys, they're driving around looking for fights.
No, I mean, I'm like 80% immobilized because of my legs and how sore my legs are. So I would have to like do one of the things where I like get my legs out of the car first and then grab on and then pull myself out, like as if I had no legs. But then I would have kicked his ass with flip flops on too. I would have left the flip flops in the car.
Paraplegic, you should have just got out like you were. Like, what is your problem?
And then like crawled over to him, grabbed him, like ankle picks him.
Dude, I saw a situation on Mulholland Drive once in LA where this little old woman was smacking the crap out of this young chick that got out of her car, and I was like, "You do it, Granny. That was amazing." You're like, oh, hold on, man. I gotta talk to you about something. I'm only gonna stick on this for a second. He wrote a book What's the book about?
I have no idea. I just saw that he did. To me, it looks like a good Doc wrote a book, right? The Dr. Disrespect wrote a book, Violence, Speed, Momentum, whatever the fuck his saying is. And it just looks like a good coffee table book. It would be funny on a coffee table, right? Like if we had an office for whatever fucking reason, that would be a coffee table book. You know,
You open it up, there are no words other than
violence, speed,
over and over.
momentum, mountain halfway at the top. And I'm like, Doc, did you have a stroke writing this? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I saw it.
He had a good stream day today, man.
Did he? I don't fucking care.
How do you know what? I'm gonna say that, and then I'm gonna say this. So Doc topped out, I think, at like 100K, and then like kind of came down to like 78, and I think it ended at like around 90 or something like that.
Good place to sit at.
Shroud was talking about how uncomfortable it made him feel that he had 500,000 people in his
That's not the first time though.
He's like, yeah, that's not natural for me. He's like, so once it started balancing out, I felt better about myself.
Once it gets down to about 300,000, I felt okay.
Yeah. Dude, could you imagine being his business analysis? Like, don't ever say anything like that.
Just red-faced, screaming out. He's Shroud's at like 60K right now. I have not a little bit more, 63,000. I have not tuned into a Shroud stream other than the first one where he came back. He's been playing Valorant. I couldn't be bothered to watch Valorant. Right now he's playing Warzone. It looks like. If he were to stream Escape from Tarkov, I'd tune in. But there's just I don't know. I like Shroud. I like him a lot. He's just playing games I just have zero interest in at the moment.
He still got that mustache, though, huh?
It's hilarious, dude.
I think it's amazing. He doesn't even look like the same dude. He definitely looks like he's going to sell me some car insurance. So that's the vibe I'm getting from that mustache. And that
or he's going to do your taxes.
Exactly.
My dad has the same. My dad has the same setup. It's not as pronounced, and it's a little more trimmed, and it's white now. But my dad has the same goatee.
People know you mean business when you got that type of like setup going on. They're like, this is a guy. It does not matter your race or creed. You have that goatee with the thick and the thin hair. I'm like, this is a man that knows his stuff. He's trying to sell me cereal right now.
We were
down
like
with it.
Going through the pictures or whatever to put on for my grandparents. My dad made his way into one. My parents have been divorced for 20 years or some shit. I'm like, Dad, you had the same mustache. This was like 25 years ago. I'm like, Dad, you were going through a fat phase.
Dude, speaking about going through fat phases, man, I'm going to
right now. Here. I am fucking
elbow
deep in one.
258. I jumped on the scale. I was like, when I saw that stipe was 233, I felt so bad about myself.
I got 10 on you.
My rib dinner, like, well, that's someone else's problem.
Yeah, I got 10 on you, man.
268?
Nah, about that.
We got to switch it up, man. We got to switch it up.
I'll get 258. You got 268.
All right, we'll switch it around.
We'll switch it around.
Here's what we're gonna do, right? We're gonna start doing the podcast at 6 a.m.
No, we're not. I'll just stay up. What are you talking about?
We'll do 80 push-ups during the podcast. I'll have a heart attack.
I will die, dude. My lungs will collapse, man.
Dude, all right, man. Look, my segues aren't that great. They're worse than Linus's. They're way worse than Linus's. And this is a guy that you just. This the only reason I picked this Ben Shapiro topic is because I know how much he annoys you in his debates.
What this is about?
So this is not an NC-17 show, so I'm not going to say it, but that's an acronym for wet.
I know what it means.
Okay. Apparently, Ben Shapiro didn't know it. And in typical Ben Shapiro style, he decided to go on an entirely inaccurate monologue involving a gynecologist, and this is a condition that and like.
My issue is.
Hold on for a second. Women around the entire interwebs decided that Ben Shapiro would never get in.
Yeah, he can't satisfy his wife. I saw that. The memes are great. You see the meme I sent you? I texted it to you.
No. What did you text me?
Look at the meme I texted you. My issue is I see WAP and I work in IT and I see wireless access point. So I'm like, wow, Cardi B made a song about Wi-Fi. I'm like, well, that's stupid. The meme that I texted Steve is a grade A. It is an A tier meme. It is absolutely incredible. Unfortunately, this is like a C tier topic though.
See, the problem with this is, man, you got to stay in your lane sometimes, right? You just got to know when to hold them, got to know when to fold them. Like,
Great song.
Great song. I never punch out my weight class, right? So if you start talking about a bunch of stuff about streams and like the analytics and stuff, I just do this.
Kenny Rogers.
But I don't chime in, right?
But you like you're cursory there though, right?
Yeah.
But Ben, like Ben Shapiro, he's a political analyst, not a fucking rap analyst. Like,
wait, hold on for a second. But he's married. He has children. He's seen the female anatomy, I assume. He has to know that there is a biological response for the woman being aroused, right? He didn't just, they didn't have feelings down there. Is that what he assumed?
I assume so. Unfortunately, I had an awful joke I could have just said that I held back on that I for sure would have had to edit out. Yeah, I don't know, Mr. Ben Shapiro. We shit on you a lot on this show. I don't want to argue with you because this shit would be fucking annoying. But
here's the thing, right? He's not wrong about a lot of the stuff he says. It's the way he argues.
Right. No, I agree. He just fucking shotgun approaches everything. And then when he argues in bad faith constantly. Yeah, he does stupid shit.
And apparently he is I'm not going to disrespect any man's marriage, but this is something like, this is one of those gotta moments.
Don't do this publicly.
Yeah, you don't talk about this stuff publicly.
He's surrounded by a bunch of yes men. They were like, bet this is a great idea. You should go ahead and do this. Or people like me, who I would have been like, Ben, buddy, perfect idea, dude. Do it. Roll with it. National television. And I'm like, I'm sitting in the back crying, laughing.
I'm calling all the trades. We're bringing everyone in on this. This is the one that's
we got fucking Disney to do advertisements. Here we go. This is your moment.
The frogs are here. I'm gonna let you. I'll let you do the segue from now on. That was it. You do it. You do it. No pressure. Segue. Good segue.
Good no segue. Pressure. You know what a segue is really good for?
What?
Moving around. You know what's also really good for moving around, Steve?
What?
A beautiful gaming chair on a hardwood floor.
Ooh.
So recently, one of your children is getting into gaming heavily, right? Yeah. Got his absolute own, separate from Steve's, gaming chair.
Yep.
What did he get? How does he like it? Has he played anything with it yet? Has he people elbow his brother off of one yet?
See, here's the thing. This is what all parents are shaking their head no to right now, because they know that one, no, he has not gotten it yet. We're not putting it together because it's just going to become a weapon. Because there's no way.
That's why I asked if he did a people's elbow off of it yet.
Two, I believe it's like a Spider-Man situation. I haven't seen it. I didn't even know the thing was coming. Like, he bamboozled one of his grandmothers out of it. So he's got it now. But it's interesting because we were downstairs playing games today, right?
Okay. What were we playing?
We're playing Infamous Second Son.
Great game. Great game.
Great game. Graphics are still hold up. A little dark.
It's a few years old. Well, the story?
No, the story's dark. I mean, the actual coloring and like the visuals, like it's dark. It's hard to see a lot.
Yeah.
But he's playing that stuff, so he's still in a weird space where he actually gets scared by a lot of things in games, like if it gets too intense and stuff like that. So the idea for me is, I was thinking, what is a game that I know he would be attracted to because it's fun and it can keep him innocent for a little while, because I don't want him to start moving up to stuff like Fortnite. I was like, we're going to dial some of this stuff back.
First thing my little cousin asked me, he came in here. So first of all, eyes lit up when he sees the room, right? Because a nice setup. You guys see it on Instagram, on our Instagram, talking with the dad. And the first thing he goes, do you play Fortnite? And I'm like, absolutely not. He's like,
get out of this room.
He's like, I'm sorry.
You got one chance, Jacob.
Get out of here.
No, right. So I don't want him to grow up too fast. Like, I let him play the Spider-Man game because he obviously, loves
superheroes. Yeah.
Loves superheroes and stuff like that. I'm going to let him play the Avengers game. And even that has mature content in it. I think once we get the computer set up, maybe we'll do a show on the actual parts that Zach has picked out for young Gavin. I think we're gonna fall back a little bit and we're gonna start getting them into stuff like Fall Guys, which looks like it's
love it, dude. Fall Guys would be perfect for him. It's Fall just Guys, fun competition. Rocket League would be a good game for him too. Really good game for him. And then you're gonna ease him into the manhunts and the Grand Theft Autos and
exactly.
I'll take once he's 22 and can buy his own shit.
Like, listen, we're gonna play the Blair Witch game, son, and you're gonna
have you heard of Slender Man?
I watched the walkthrough on that game. That game is creepy, dude. There's no way Blair Witch. There's no way I'm playing that for 8 hours. Even the guy who was doing the review he was like, this is absolutely creepy. Like, it's like,
dude, there is a video out there on the internet. I'm sorry, Woody's Gamer Tag. I have to do this, and I'll give you a shout out for this one. He's playing either Slender Man or the Blair Witch game on stream. Right, dark room. Right, the guy's in a fucking made millions off of Minecraft. He made a server on Minecraft, made millions off of it. Successful YouTuber, successful podcaster. Right, sitting there streaming, playing, let's say Slender Man. His fucking headphone wire brushes his leg, and he jumps out of his chair screaming. And I'm like, dude, that's bad optics if I've ever seen it before. That's fucking hilarious.
No, but it's like, so that makes sense, man. Like, you're playing something for 8 hours.
It's a legitimate scary game.
No, yeah, I'm at any rate, he won't be doing anything like that. Poor guy doesn't even like Minecraft, the zombies, which I will admit.
So one thing I asked my cousin, I'm like, because he had a Minecraft shirt on, I'm like, do you like Minecraft? He goes, I play it all day. And I'm like, do you fight the zombies in it? And he goes, I kill them all day. And I'm like, good job, buddy. And I high five. He's 6. I high fived him. I'm like, go fucking play soccer, bro. I'm like, just screwed it.
Yeah, Gavin is a lover, man. He's a lover of things. Like, if he kills a zombie, he's gonna be like, why did it have to die? And I'm like, well, technically, buddy, it was already dead. It had no right to continue walking around.
You did a great thing.
But the crazy thing is, when he plays Spider-Man, shows no mercy. I watched him swing a dude off a rooftop, and I'm just like,
you're like, you didn't have to do that. And he goes, I know. Like, whoa. Yeah, Rocket League would be great for him. Fall Guys would be really good, really good for him, for sure.
There's no dark, seedy side to Fall Guys, right? Like,
no, it's literally just fucking Beans named Kevin running around trying to win games, man.
It's adorable, man. I watched it the other day. It's adorable. The way they move their little bodies are like
they're beans that walk like penguins, dude. It's amazing. Yeah. Have little outfits on. I'm wearing a fucking toucan costume. Like,
oh, have you been playing it too?
Yeah, I've played a bunch.
Yeah. How much does it cost?
$20?
Is it PC only or
PC and PS4? I think.
Oh, really?
It is on the PS4. Yeah.
Next thing I wanted to talk about in regards to Gavin's little gaming setup. So we got to start making some serious decisions here. We being my wife and I. So, the school he's going to be going to, they're going to give him a Chromebook to do his virtual classes, but he's going to get a desk. So now I need to figure out, where is said computer going to be? I assumed that it would be down here, but that means then he's going to need somewhere to park the computer. I think I get him a little monitor. It's going to be great. We're probably gonna have to rewire this place because you got to get better wiring for the computers, protect everything. I have to get Ethernet cords run down here. Santana, I don't know if you're watching the show still, probably tuned out at this point.
One Ethernet cable is all you need
to the switch, right?
To a switch, get a nice switch. We'll get like the one that I have is wonderful. Get one that you can manage, actually. What you really should do is get a switch that you can manage, so you can log in and set parental settings on the switch for his MAC address. Okay. That's really the way to do it. Managed switch are slightly more expensive. The managed switch of mine was probably $20 more instead of like $100. It was $120, whatever it was.
Are you the only person that uses the switch in your house?
Yeah, I have. It runs a fucking Ethernet cable down the hallway into my room, and that switch right there runs 3 Ethernet cables into the room. Yeah.
What you said 3?
Yeah, there's one for gaming PC, one for the stream PC, and one if I ever wanted to plug a console in. There's another wire just sitting over there. Actually, I have that one plugged into my gaming PC because I have a teamed network switch or a network interface card in my PC that I have set up, so it has 2 Ethernet cables running in.
Okay. Yeah. Remember when MW gave that to you? That's when you were having your beef with Spectrum at the time.
Oh yeah. I wrote a thesis statement about that shit on Twitter. I wrote it was like it was like 280 characters or whatever is the maximum on Twitter now. It was like 4 of those full in a row with picture evidence and like dude, it was bad. I was angry. I was the most angry I've ever been. Yes. I actually got all the way up to the regional manager in charge of infrastructure. and had an argument with him about whether nodes were bad or not. And I'm like, dude, I don't care if your node is bad or not. This is what I'm doing. This is what I expect out of it. And this is the performance that I'm getting. Well, I can't really see that in mine. I'm like, I provided you with picture evidence. I can send it to you if you need me to, but this is what's happening. I'm like, I'm getting constant disconnections every 9.5 seconds, whatever it was. I had literally timed it. And yeah, I corrected that fairly quickly. Dude, I know just enough to be dangerous.
Optimum is starting to screw us on our bill, so I'll be having one of those conversations with them tomorrow. I just actually
you can like haggle with those people.
Huh?
You can
you can't. You can't haggle with Optimum.
Yes, you can. Oh, I've never had Optimum, but like most like cable companies
implies that there is a common ground of intelligence in my mind where you both are working off the same framework.
Yeah.
I've talked to people at the customer service at Optimum before. Great people. Thank you for sticking around doing your essential jobs. But the few that I have talked to, I'm like, can I speak to someone else? Because obviously I'm using words that
when I call Time Warner, and the first thing I do is I've tried restarting it. I've updated the modem. I've updated the router. I've checked my Ethernet cables. I've even replaced the coaxial cable coming in from the wall. Can I speak to level 3? They're like, well, actually, have you done? I was like, I've done that already. I just explained this to you. I know you're reading off a script. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be this guy. I need level 3. They're like, but I'm like, no buts. I'm like, I either need your manager or level 3, whatever one you prefer.
I know he's walking around in the background somewhere.
Right, and then they give me to another one of like level 1 or whatever, and I'm like, I don't want you either. I either need level 3. I'm an absolute fucking Karen when it comes to the cable company, dude. I'm like, I need a level 3 or your boss, or I'm getting red faced.
It's funny because I dealt with it's funny that Karen is like, the depiction is some aggravated white woman, because I dealt with a black guy the other day at the school that was a total Karen, and I don't know what the equivalent word would be for that. But
someone said this recently. I think it's like a Jeff or something, or like a Josh.
I walked over to go support JH at the front counter, and literally I just walked over a second because this guy was starting to get loud, and the dude stops, makes eye contact with me, and he's like, "What do you want?" I was like, "Oh, I was just coming to check on my man here." He's like, well, you're gonna have to wait until I'm done talking to him. And I'm like, holy shit. And then he turned around and like Cash tried to intervene as well, gave Cash shit. And I was just like, man, we could jump you right now. Like, let's see how none of that has anything to do with my son's setup, man. But it's gonna be an interesting time because this does mark a very interesting time in a kid's life, right?
Sure.
Like
he's choosing his preferred platform, and he's choosing the correct one.
No, we're choosing this one for him. He just wants to build it because he's I'm always watching stuff on the YouTube, and he's just like, that's cool. So I guess he's choosing his platform. I don't even know if we should get him the PlayStation 5, to be honest with you. Like I'm like really on the fence about it.
I've done my job here, Steve. I can pack it up. Show's canceled, episode 50. I've done all that I need to do. I'm going home.
Well, why are you doing that, man? Why are you doing all that stuff? Look, full-time streaming.
What about
This is it, folks.
There's a lot of people who do it.
There's a lot of people to do it, but you're considering and doing it. We just take us through it. I'm just gonna lean back. You take a show.
You do this to me and set me up for fucking failure every single time. I put this on here, right? I'm in a weird position right now, without a job and have some money saved, and don't have many bills or responsibilities and such. So I could take a shot or a crack at full-time streaming for a little while, right? So I'm going to make the decision and try to, right? I'm going to make a conceited effort to do the advertising and the marketing a little bit better. And I've done a lot of stuff on my stream recently to try to improve quality and quality of life for me and viewers, and, and going forward, I hope that is it. One of the issues though, is I have to stop playing music during the stream, in fear of all this DMCA strikes that are happening to channels. I had to go through and comb through a lot of my clips, and try to comb out some stuff that had music very loudly, so I can't get striked for that. And yeah, they're doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes for sure leading up into it. So yeah, I'm gonna make an attempt. I don't know what my schedule is gonna be as of right now. It's just gonna be every day for as long as I can, essentially, and we'll see.
Now, what have been some of the barriers for you in regards to streaming? I know I've heard you refer to the content of streaming, wanting to make sure that the content was worth your time and doing it. Is that something you feel like you're past now, or are you just
I mean, there's at some point where I have to decide whether or not I want to do it, right? And whether or not it's still worth time attempting to do it, right? I've been on Twitch a long time. I've been on YouTube and Twitter and all these platforms a long time, right? But I got to put the time in, right? You have to put your time in. You have to get yourself out there and get known and get a game, like all this other stuff, right? But it won't happen unless I try. So I got to at least try. In a month or two, I'll sit down and assess the situation, right? If I'm not grown past where I am right now, then it's okay. Well, I'll stream casually when I want to, and that's it. You know, you make a decision, right? You gotta set out a plan, execute the plan, and then assess what the results were at a different time, right? If I'm seeing some growth, seeing some revenue, seeing whatever, right? Then it's like, okay, well then I got to put more time into this, right? But if I'm not seeing anything, then it's like, okay, well, you know, I gave it my shot, right? I hate not trying things, at least, right? That's been instilled in me from my parents forever, right? You don't know if you love or hate something, or if you'll be successful at it, if you have a passion or a knack for something, unless you absolutely try it. And that's what I have to do. That's what I want to do.
I think you should give it at least 6 months.
I can't.
3 months.
I can't afford to give it 6 months.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Man, listen, no, yeah, money's overrated, dude.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I'll sell my car.
Yeah, sell your car, sell your computers, and then you can be a full-time streamer.
Right. So off of a cell phone.
I'll give you my Pixel book. You can stream off of that. It's gonna be amazing.
It'll be overheating constantly. Be screaming at it.
Actually, the thermals are great on there. There is not
when laptop. You're running something that'll run the CPU at 100%.
Oh no. Twitch
also,
does not run the CPU at 100%. You'll be fine.
Absolutely, it does. What's wrong with you? I couldn't even download a streaming platform onto it. Like, I could not put OBS. I need something.
You can download OBS on it.
How?
Through the Play Store. That's on the Play Store.
Is this the same Play Store as I have on my cell phone?
Yeah.
Okay. OBS. Streamlabs is on the Play Store. Holy shit. What can I do from it? I gotta find out what I could do from it. Hello.
Dude, you had to have known this, right? I sent you a video on, we were trying to figure out how to use my cell phone camera.
That's different, right? That's different. So I could connect your cell phone to your computer and use that as a webcam, right? You have to essentially assign it a driver, right? This I would have to be live streaming from a cell phone. That's different.
Oh wait, Streamlabs has the live streaming app.
I know. I just said that. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Hey, listen, Steve, when you're right, I give you that one.
Yeah, show's canceled.
I hate it. I hate it, but I give you that one. Break this keyboard over my knee.
Listen, I'm happy for you, man. I've told you before, I think it's something that's worth your time. I understand that everything costs a little bit of money and it costs a little bit of ourselves, but I think with the attitude and the approach that you have going through, you set out a business plan, you set goals for yourself, you hold yourself accountable to those goals, and then you see where you are from there. I remember when we started doing this whole thing, this was just supposed to be for fun, and then we made the pivot. We've been taking it way more seriously, and the one thing I told myself was, if he can do the editing, I should have no problem doing marketing and social media stuff, as if, and just taking it seriously. I told myself, if we got to 100 subscribers, it would still be worth doing, and we got there. And by the way, thank you to you other 23 people. I don't know who you are. I knew
you're like, I genuinely am concerned for you.
We're really grateful for the growth, man. And make sure to like, comment, subscribe, go for it, and go check out what's your Twitch channel, Zach?
Zach N Plays
at twitchtv.com, or is that a reversal, or how's that look? Oh, by the way, you SOB, that was a shameless plug.
That was amazing. I wasn't streaming. I was really tired after golfing, and I barely made it through the fights. Or I would have streamed and done a watch party for the fights. But yeah, here we are.
I look at your pics and it's like, right.
I did it as a joke, right? If you would have been like, nah, that can't be that, I had the other copy ready to go to send it to you. I did it as a joke.
Why would I care? You know what the crazy thing was? So I was gonna stream. I forgot to tell you this. I was gonna obviously record or stream the Avengers gameplay.
How did that go? I'm really curious on what you thought about. How long did you play? What was the first experience?
Hold on for a second. I sat down. First thing I dealt with the game was
you had to make a Square Enix account.
If I can't even tell you what that process was like, and it's not their fault. It was definitely user error.
Because you went into full rage mode and was like, I don't want to do anything. Is that it?
And then once that was done, I noticed that the game was really, really glitchy. Like after I created the account, from the point that I hit A to load the game, it crashed once.
Okay.
I reloaded it, started it back up. By the time it finally made it to the title screen, I was like, I don't want this to be my first experience.
Did you send in a crash report?
Yes, I did. I always do that. I never assume if anyone's listening.
But it's a beta test. This is what the test is for. The open beta is this weekend, right? Or next weekend. Yeah. This is the more important test, right? Once 15 million people or whatever will try an open beta. Once they start accessing it and it runs okay, I hear the multiplayer is pretty shoddy at the moment as well. There's a lot of disconnection issues, and that's server side for Square Enix. I'm never a huge fan of Square Enix.
Not just that, there's actually a lot of glitches, like like visual glitches as well, like old stuff you see in video games all the time, but like a character will meld into another character and then pop back out.
Oh, those are hilarious. Usually
two of the same characters will appear out of nowhere. Like there'll be two. You're supposed to only be able to play with one Iron Man, one Black Widow.
Right.
There'll be two Iron Man in the shots. So I didn't want that to be my first experience. But I was going to stream it, and I was trying to figure out, well, like, I can't stream on my other YouTube channel, which is just my first and last name. I was like, what am I going to do? And I was like, well, what would Zach say to do? And I was like, he would just be like, hey, why don't you just do gaming with a dad? But then I was so pissed with the whole
I would have just told you to stream on this channel. I don't know. What do you mean?
Oh, yeah, it was well, fuck it. Anyway, I didn't want that to be my first experience.
Sure.
You know, so I shut it down. Like, literally, when I finally got everything up and working, I was like, I know myself. You know me well enough. I was like, I'm already in a bad mood.
Yeah.
Anything that happens from this point forward,
it's going to be awful. It's going to be closer and closer to the computer getting thrown in that door back there and forgotten about in a dark hallway. And you're going to take your children and say, you're never playing video games again. We're going to go hunting.
We're going off the grid. We're doing this.
Off the grid.
Whittling things. But
okay. So you don't have a first experience. You haven't.
I don't have a first experience.
Did you get onto like the main menu? Is that as far as you got?
That's
what was the music like? What were the
music was good. Everything looked, once I got the Square Enix things and the crash thing solved, and I had to make sure the game boost wasn't back on for some reason, because I had the same problem with COD. It would load and crash. It was like that this thing turned itself back on, but it wasn't it. But once it loaded, I liked the character design. I like the graphics. I like the way the characters look. I know why they did that legally, because they don't want to tie it too closely to the MCU characters and stuff like that.
Yeah, they look slightly different.
I think it's going to be fun. My expectations are really low, though. Like I don't know what everyone else is walking into this game looking for. My expectations are to play a fun superhero game, see a story that doesn't exist in any of the comic books anywhere, and have a good time doing it.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I know there are some people talking to you, Fat Mantis, who get a little weird about these things. I'm not looking for life answers in games, man. I'm just trying to have a good time. But I could not let that be my first experience. So you said the open beta starts this weekend?
It's either this weekend or next weekend. I don't remember. I've not been paying attention to it very much. But yeah, I think it's fairly shortly coming up here.
All right. Well, I'm gonna jump on that, because this was the second week of the closed beta, I believe, or the third week. At any rate, I've been playing some Assassin's Creed, and that's going well.
Is it?
Yeah, no, I'm mad. This is the thing. You got to buy games years after they come out. They got all the bugs worked out. They got the appropriate updates in there now.
That's right. That's why for a long time there was a campaign on the internet to stop pre-ordering games, so people would maybe release a game that was complete, right? Open beta preload is Thursday. It'll go from Friday the 21st to Sunday the 23rd. And that's this weekend. So yeah, the open beta is this weekend. I guess I might give it a shout, maybe.
Yeah, give it a shout.
I hate superheroes and superhero games alike. So I can't imagine that it goes well. But
did a superhero scare you as a kid or something? What is
no? I don't like looking at things that can't be beaten. All right. The end of every superhero story, the superhero wins, right? Generally, unless there's some fucking reverse universe of shit that they think that, oh, let's make a villain win, right? But it's not like part of the story, right? Superheroes died in fucking Avengers or whatever, right? But the main villain was beaten. Most of the cast was still there. The only reason they killed off certain characters is because the contract issues or like something outside of what the actual story was, right? And that bothers me. I don't want to go into a movie knowing the end, right? If I've read a book, it's hard for me to read a book and then watch that movie, right? Artemis Fowl, I've read the entire like 7-book series. It might be more now. I'm not going to watch the movie when it's out. It might even be out now. I don't want to watch the movie because I've read the books, right? I know what happens. I don't find it that compelling to watch a story that I already know.
But you're going to do that with the Lord of the Rings, obviously.
I've already watched the first 2 movies. I'm on to the third. Yeah. I haven't read that in the book yet.
You haven't read?
No, hold on. I'm like 6 chapters into the book or something.
Oh, okay. I was like, whoa, did you bang out 2 books already?
No. I just watched the 2 movies. I gotta watch the third. I haven't found a chance to watch the third yet.
If I find the you have a DVD player, yes. I'm gonna look for the Return of the King, the extended version.
I don't have a DVD player.
You got an Xbox there, right?
Yeah, but I don't want. What am I gonna hook it up to?
Your monitor.
What monitor?
The monitor you're looking at right now has an HDMI port in the back of it that's not being used.
Does it?
Yes, because you're using display ports. I know that for a fact.
Stevie, but then it's not going to run at 240 hertz.
Sir.
There's the monitor that I actually watch it on. For some reason, I like to watch things on my BenQ monitor the most, and that's a 60 hertz monitor that came out 10 years ago.
That's amazing. The one you let me borrow here, everything looks amazing on here.
That's an Asus monitor I've had for just as long as this one. I love it.
I think this one is 60 hertz. I don't know.
60 hertz. It is. Absolutely it is. I got it before like 144 was semi-affordable.
I don't like looking at videos on the 144 hertz. Do not like it.
Really?
No, I don't like it. It looks oversaturated. Like they're just not made. The
color of it's definitely not made for the platform, but that you're playing it on. But yeah, no, that makes sense, I guess. I don't like oversaturation too much. I think some aspects is really nice. Like if you're in like a broad landscape, a little oversaturation can make it pop a little bit. But other than that, I actually might even undersaturate a lot of things because it draws out more emotion in a photo.
You said something I want to cue back in on for a second. The betas of games and games being released, finished. What do you think it would take? Or maybe that's what we're seeing one company do, for people to decide that it's a better business practice to release a finished game.
CD Projekt Red is doing it, right? With Cyberpunk.
What about Halo? Do you
think Halo still launch and it'll still be shit when it launches.
Okay.
There at one point, and I completely understand the business model around it. At one point, there was a passion in video games, and they wanted to make video games because they were telling a story. Right. They still tell great stories in video games. Grand Theft Auto, this most recent one, was an incredible story. Honestly, you could turn it into a movie. I thought it'd be very good. It left from being a passion to being a cash cow. Right. And the faster you can get video games out and the more money you could put in marketing. Right. I think Grand Theft Auto 5 spent $250 million in marketing. And it has to be astronomically more than that because they market everywhere still. You know, every time I open up Reddit and I'm scrolling past an ad because I don't have fucking Reddit Premium anymore, there's a GTA 5 ad because they're doing some summer campaign or whatever, right? Like, at one point it became not about the passion, about the story, about everything, and it became about the money. And that's fine, right? I understand the business model around it. You have to make money. But here's the thing. You got to remember, we can patch games now. Right? When Super Mario Sunshine came out on the GameCube and there was a bug in it, they would have had to re-release the game to give you an update, right?
Right.
Now you could push out live patches, so it doesn't matter, right? You could put out a 98% done game and you don't have to hire the testers and the QA people that you did. Your general population is going to do it. You're going to sell the copies anyway. So what does it matter? A company like CD Projekt Red, I think makes games because they like making games and they want to tell a story. The game will be buggy when it releases. I would be willing to put all of my money on it. Every game is, because there's things that you just don't realize, right? There's people who like go and jump into rocks in Skyrim and get through the map and can go under and steal things from chests without ever being noticed, right? Like, I watched a video about that once when I was playing it on the PS3 and was able to recreate it because they didn't patch it for a year. I made so much money off of it. I was able to get everything. It was amazing. But no one right now is incentivized to make that perfect game. But it'll will never be made, right? There's, certain games run differently at certain frame rates, right? In Skyrim, I know really well because I've done a lot of glitches in Skyrim. For a good example, if you run it above 60 frames per second, the game runs faster, right? The time moves faster. You move faster. The dialogue is faster. Fallout's a really good example of that. The guns stop working at a certain frame rate, right? You have to download mods to unlock the frame rate, and things just start happening that are weird and buggy, right? That game Session that I play, the skateboarding game, if you're above 114 frames per second or something, when you start doing tricks like a kickflip, the back end will just come up and you catch it like forward and bring it back, right? The variable kickflips isn't a variable kickflip. It's like a fucking half of a 360 flip, right? Because there's a difference. Variable kickflip is more vertical than a three flip, because a three flip is more like perfectly flat and then you catch it, right? And you do half of one of those instead of it being a little bit more vertical. There's weird things that happen when you're at certain frame rates, right? You can't test every scenario for everything that's in the game. It was very, very hard. It took years of Q&A. So that's why games are so buggy.
Eesh. I mean, I get it. I get it. I do get it. It's interesting you brought up the testers, because I remember that used to be the dream job for people. It was kind of this allure.
Seems like absolute fucking AIDS to me, dude. I would never want to do that, because you're getting paid like minimum wage. They don't get paid very well. And you basically just have to go around trying to jump into those rocks, right? You don't get to play the game. You get to break the game. And that's a little bit different. Some people enjoy it. I know they do, but I would much rather be able to sit and play and enjoy the game than have to sit and do it as a job and break the game. That's just me, though.
I would have a great time getting paid to break the game. But at the same time, I'm just hoping that with everything that we've been going through recently with the game launches and game delays, what I'm hoping for with the Avengers game is that they decide to get those patches out as quickly as possible. Whatever the issues are, patch it now, so we don't have to go.
There will be a huge day one patch. Guaranteed. Yeah. You download that game and you're trying to launch it for the first time, there'll be a 40 gigabyte patch for day one, right? Because what was the term? Is it going platinum? When you're done developing, the game is done, then you start working on bugs. I don't remember it's going gold. I don't remember what the term is. It's something. They do it in movies too, I think. But yeah, there'll be a huge day one patch. I'm sure everything has it. The new fucking Call of Duty will have it. We don't have any information on it still, which is ridiculous.
It's interesting that you bring up COD, one of our reoccurring subjects here, and I'll make it short. But a lot of people have been having an issue with COD lately, eating up a lot of RAM resource, overheating their computers. And I'm like, I've heard two particular instances. I was just like, that's weird. I'm like, you're telling me that COD is taking up 80% of your RAM resource? And like, yeah. I'm like,
it happened to me in Black Ops 4. I couldn't stream Black Ops 4 off of it. This is why I bought a stream PC. If you remember, this is the origin of the stream PCs, because I couldn't play Black Ops 4 and stream it. I've tweaked some settings later on in my play style or in my stream, and it kind of worked, but I was literally at 100% CPU, 100% GPU, and like 70% RAM. And I'm like, dude, I have 32 gigs of RAM. That is a lot, right? I'm not running like multiple renders of videos at the same time. It's a lot.
That's insane.
It was eating up everything. I was on like forums and shit, like trying to figure it out. I was able to, Black Ops 3, I was able to fix it. And day one, I was able to fix it. And I actually uploaded a video on my old channel and was like, hey, here's how you do it. Got like 2,000 views or something.
Did you really?
Yeah.
That means you're probably partnered on that channel. What are we doing on this one? You psychopath?
No, what do you mean partnered?
You got 2,000 views, right?
On one video.
On one video, but how many hours?
I have no idea. Like 80 seconds. It was like a minute-long video, dude.
How many hours accumulated of people watching? Oh,
it was a minute-long video. Going, hey guys, this is how you do the thing. This is how you fix it. It wasn't like, hey, here's a gameplay, and then also at the end of it, here's how you fix it.
You messed up. You didn't do the 15-minute intro, and then you didn't tell them how you've been away from streaming or recording for a little while.
Taking my joke, you son of a...
Listen, let's talk about getting paid to do the right thing for a second. You ever gotten paid to do the right thing before? Have you ever gotten paid to do everything that you're supposed to do at your job? Obviously, you have. You've gotten paid when you weren't doing your job too, I assume, correct?
Yeah, I mean, sure.
But imagine being a UFC fighter, already strapped for cash. You know, you can barely afford to pay your training partners. don't.
Most of them don't.
Yeah, you're going for a fight bonus. You're hoping that you
poor
can just pay
allies
off.
over there hawking houses.
And they're doing pretty good too, apparently.
I think he is. So he hasn't fought.
Now, correct me, man. This is not something I knew about. I never knew anything about it. Been watching fights for 8 years now. Didn't know anything about this, so it has to be new in my mind.
It is
UFC
new.
252 promotional guidelines compliance pay. I'm gonna read you the list. So what the compliance guideline pays is made you play ball the entire time. You did all the pressers,
Sure.
you did all the press circuits, you did the radio spots, all of it, and you showed up in uniform.
And you get everything. You get a bonus at the end.
You get a bonus. Stipe got 40 G's.
Just for showing up in a suit, doing his press. Okay, I'm sorry. Did you notice the Stipe sounded normal after this most recent fight?
Yeah,
usually
they knocked the marble right. They knocked.
Right.
They went back.
Well, no. If you listen to him when he's not fighting and not in camp, he sounds legible, right? You can listen and know what Stipe is saying. Sometimes after his fights, I don't know if it's exhaustion and he's just speaking fast and it doesn't put his words together. He sounds like drunk. He slurs a lot. That's all I want to say. He sounded good after the fight.
No, it's not. It's not.
It is his act. I know he's getting sloppy with his speaking. That's kind of what I'm saying. All right, back to compliance pay. Stipe got 40 G's. How much did DC get? I hope he got less.
30.
Good.
Marlon Vera got 10,000.
Oh well, you know what? Paying off his house. That's what he said.
Sean O'Malley got
4,000 even.
Yep. Rosenstreet got 5. Junior Dos Santos got 20, but that's because of his seniority. Daniel Pineda got 5,000. Hey man, you know what? Daniel Pineda looked really, really good in his fight, and he made Gilbert Burns' brother look really good.
Herbert Burns.
Dude,
what the fuck is going on with their parents? Like, we got a Gilbert and a Herbert.
Dude, you know what the crazy thing about it is? He's my patron saint. Pineda came back. He's 35. I'm obviously 4 years older than him, and you know that is probably outside of. Yeah, I am, dude.
It's catching up.
That's literally what I just said, you prick. But no, Daniel Pineda came in, man, and he wrecked shop, man, and he took,
good. It looks good.
Looked very good. Deserves that 5,000. Herbert Burns got 3,500, and I'm not going to go through all of these, but I like this, man. I like the fact that because you think about it, one of the biggest complaints that someone like Ronda Rousey had was doing all the TV spots. Even Conor, who is actually a company man,
refused to do it for his Khabib fight.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't do it either for Khabib's fight. I would not. Every moment of my time would go.
You're gonna have to pay people to bring me to the show.
It's all focused on beating him, man. But I think this is great. Jim Miller got 20,000, man.
Good for Jim Miller, man. He's a company man. He's fought about 100,000 times for the UFC. He deserves all the money that they pay him.
Absolutely. Can you believe that man was living with Lyme disease for years? Didn't know what was going on with him. Like most people with Lyme disease, finally got treated. Yeah, he feels great, and he's been fighting. I mean, he lost that fight. Up until that point, he was looking really good. What's going on behind you, buddy? Is that dog in there? Come on over here.
The dog made an appearance, and he's like, he's getting into things, and I know he is. That's all right. He could chew on whatever he wants.
But the reason I bring this up, and the reason we're back at fighting, is because Zach and I have talked ad nauseum about bad business practices for the UFC, right? And this is a good business practice, and I hope to see more of this. And I'm actually kind of proud that they paid these people out, considering what we're going through as a world financially.
Or just pay their fighters. Just pay your fighters, please.
Or because of COVID, right?
Not even
some
that.
People are putting.
They don't pay their fighters.
Pay your fighters. No, you're talking crazy
again.
Fair. Don't pay your fighters. But this is a good look. This is a good look. Go get him, buddy. Go get him out of there.
I have no idea where he is. He just disappeared. He's playing in the closet somewhere. He's having a good time.
You know, I got this plush carpet now down here, and I'm always watching Marvel, and she's always trying to pee on it. I just realized that's what she's actually trying to do. She's like sniffing around, like I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. What do you got, man? What do you got?
That's it, man. That's it. That's all I got. You want to wrap up the show?
No, Zach. I don't. I want to keep talking. Zachariah.
Oh, well, what do you got, big guy?
I got nothing.
Anything else going on in life? You need some advice for a business you might be starting up?
No, but I will say this. Stipe sounded a lot better after this fight, than he did when he lost. At that point, they needed subtitles because I was just thinking in my head about
he got knocked out. Right. You should never interview a fighter after they got knocked out. I agree with Rogan on that.
No, I disagree with both of you. Interview the fighter. I want to know how he's feeling. Articulate to me, because it's always amazing the stuff that comes out of a concussed person.
Not good. No, I super respect Stipe for going, dude, I just want to go home to my kids. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
my kid, right?
Dude.
Like,
he's got a great gym. Did you see that setup in his house, man?
no, was it on Instagram?
No, it was on the Embedded. He was just kind of
watching
walking.
the Embedded. So,
They're good.
I'm
man.
a casual fan.
What?
I'm a casual fan at best. I don't watch
Do
the
you
Embeddeds. I don't watch Stipe stream all the time. Like,
Do you tell people you train UFC?
no. That would be hilarious. Yeah, man, I've been training UFC for 6 weeks, and I think I can kick your ass. Hit you with
a shirt with barbed wire on it.
It says affliction
right there.
or tap out. It says tap out.
Oh man, I missed
the
I wish we can get our game down so tight because I would love to bring up the tap out guys. One of them passed away, so I should not make fun of it. But the one with the afro was always my favorite. Have you ever seen what these guys look like?
No.
Look up the owners of Tap Out real quick.
No. It's bad. It's bad. It's dead air for the show. I'm okay.
All right. Well, let's get out of here, man. I'm gonna go make a sandwich. What are you gonna have?
Nothing. I'm gonna have another 3 hours in front of my computer getting everything up and ready.
Why you gotta complain on air to the people? You gotta complain.
A little behind baseball, ladies and gentlemen. Steve, bring us out of the show.
Folks, thanks for tuning in to another episode 50. It's been great to roll with you guys on this journey. 50. And you know where to find us. You can check us out at Talking with a Dad on all our platforms, IG, Facebook, Twitter. Look for us on Anchor, Podcast, and anywhere you can look up a podcast itself. Just type in Talking with a Dad, all one word, in the Google search bar, and it will pull us up, and we're really happy about that. We look forward to talking to you guys again on Friday and bringing you more great content. Have a good night.